Reborn into my senior year of high school. While other simps were still kissing up to the two-faced school beauty, I set my sights on the aloof senior girl who seemingly had nothing to do with me. It wasn't because of her tiny waist, long legs, or how good she looked in black tights. It was just because, in my past life, I couldn't tell the difference between a toxic fake and a hidden gem. Back then, just to buy milk for that two-faced girl, I got hit by a car and was paralyzed in bed for 3 years. In the end, she visited me exactly once with our classmates, and never showed up again. Instead, it was Luo Yanren, that cold senior who supposedly had nothing to do with me. One day, with red, teary eyes, she showed up looking completely exhausted at my hospital room, and she kept visiting me for 3 whole years, until she passed away trying to save a little girl from drowning in a river. After that, my hospital room never again saw that proud but adorable girl. Now, reborn and standing in this boba shop, I looked at the girl standing right in front of me. Just how blind was I in my past life to not realize she had feelings for me? Right at that moment, a soft, sweet voice came from the doorway. "Xie Xiao, have you not gotten it yet?" At that moment, I was holding a cup of milk tea in my hand. It was still warm. Luo Yanren knew I was buying it for Zhou Mianmian. Zhou Mianmian walked over, and immediately spotted Luo Yanren standing in front of me. She stood there, oozing confidence in front of her, because she knew that no matter how amazing Luo Yanren was, there was one thing she could never beat her at. Xie Xiao liked her, not Luo Yanren. It didn't matter how gorgeous or dazzling Luo Yanren was, it was absolutely useless. Thinking of this, Zhou Mianmian put on a sweet smile, walked up to my side, brushed against my arm, and said, "Senior Luo, what are you doing here? What a total coincidence." After saying that, she reached her hand out to me, just out of pure habit. I unwrapped the straw and poked it right into the milk tea I was holding. A flash of sadness crossed Luo Yanran's eyes, but just as Zhou Mianmian was about to take the drink from my hand, I completely bypassed her and handed the milk tea straight to Luo Yanren. "Want some? It might be a little sweet, though. This one is 70% sugar. How about I just buy you a fresh cup?" Luo Yanren stared at me in total disbelief, looking completely caught off guard. Standing right next to us, Zhou Mianmian let out a pathetic little whine. "Xie Xiao, that's my milk tea." Hearing that, I turned to look at her. "Oh, you want something to drink too? Then go buy it yourself. The counter is right over there." I even thoughtfully pointed at the ordering counter for her. Zhou Mianmian stared at me, looking both stunned and incredibly wronged. "Didn't you buy this for me? I've been waiting outside for such a long time. It's freezing out there." Saying that, she glanced at the milk tea in my hand. Her eyes and soft pale cheeks started turning red. "Is it because you ran into Senior Luo? Are you letting her have it first?" "Oh, Xie Xiao, you're just too sweet," she murmured in that pitiful, aggrieved voice of hers. Seeing her act like this, I honestly just laughed. I pulled back the milk tea in my hand, taking it away from Luo Yanren. Seeing me pull the drink back, the tiny spark of hope in Luo Yanran's eyes completely died out. Still, she kept her back perfectly straight, acting like she didn't care at all. "It's just a cup of milk tea. I can buy one myself." Seeing me do exactly what she had expected, Zhou Mianmian felt a rush of smug satisfaction. She kept up her little act, saying sweetly, "Senior Luo comes from a rich family. Of course she can afford a cup of milk tea. You're really just overthinking it, Xie Xiao. But since you already offered that cup to her, there's no way I want it now." She was just about to tell me to buy her a brand new cup, because she would absolutely never drink something that had been offered to Luo Yanren. However, I had absolutely zero intention of handing it to her either. Instead, I just put the straw right up to my mouth and took a massive sip. Then I pulled out my phone and handed it to Luo Yanren. "This one is way too sweet. Order whatever you like. I know you can afford a cup of milk tea, but I still want to treat you." Seeing that I had absolutely no intention of paying attention to her, Zhou Mianmian was a bit stunned and for some reason, started feeling incredibly anxious. Yan Shi, who had walked in with her and stayed quiet this whole time, shifted from his initial surprise and jealousy that I actually knew Luo, the gorgeous school beauty. Now, seeing how things were playing out, he secretly rejoiced, thinking his chance had finally come. He asked Zhou Mianmian softly, "Mianmian, what do you want to drink? I'll buy it for you." I glanced over. Yan Shi and I were in the same class, and he had a huge crush on Zhou Mianmian too. He had always treated me like his mortal enemy. I used to absolutely hate seeing him hovering around Zhou Mianmian all the time. But as for now, whatever, it had nothing to do with me anymore. At this moment, Zhou Mianmian felt a deep sense of grievance. She was already so used to me catering to her every single whim. This was the very first time she was getting the cold shoulder from me. Along with feeling upset and angry, she was also acting out of pure spite. So, Zhou Mianmian deliberately turned to Yan Shi and said, "Okay, I'll have a brown sugar. Boba, 70% sugar." Thank you. After saying that, she intentionally shot me a look, waiting for me to step in and stop her like I always did, so I could gently coax her. But to her shock, I had already looked away. Instead, I was looking right at Luo Yanran with a smile in my voice. Go ahead and order. Luo Yanran's heart was racing a bit. She reached out, just about to take my phone, when her own phone suddenly vibrated in her hand. She paused mid-air, as if suddenly snapping out of a daze. It's fine, I won't get anything. Then she grabbed her phone and stepped outside to take the call. Seeing this, Zhou Mianmian's heart completely sank, and she felt a wave of uneasiness. Xie Xiao seemed like a totally different person today. I shot a worried glance out the door, and then went ahead and ordered a hot milk tea for Luo Yanran myself. Meanwhile, Yan Shi quickly hurried back with 2 cups of milk tea. I watched him eagerly hand one over to her. Here, Mianmian, 70% sugar. It's getting pretty late, so let me walk you home. Zhou Mianmian took the milk tea and instantly frowned. Why is it iced? On such a freezing cold day? Is this Yan Shi guy seriously as dense as a rock? But she still forced a sweet smile on her face, and softly thanked him. Thank you, Yan Shi. You're so sweet. Seeing that I wasn't paying them any attention whatsoever, Zhou Mianmian looked pretty upset. She glanced back at Yan Shi, who was staring right back at her like an eager puppy. Usually, it was Xie Xiao who walked her home. After the party wrapped up, everyone else had already left. Xie Xiao had only tagged along to buy milk tea because she wanted some. Yan Shi had a crush on her too, so he purposely stayed behind, hoping to catch a moment alone with her. But seeing Xie Xiao's icy attitude right now, Zhou Mianmian spitefully turned to Yan Shi and said, Sure, I'd love it if you walked me home. After saying that, she shot me another look, but I didn't even spare her a single glance. Was he acting like this because she rejected his confession right before the party started? Zhou Mianmian frowned as she stared at the iced milk tea in her hands. After I picked up my drinks, I heard Yan Shi eagerly saying, The car is here, let's get going. Mianmian, but Zhou Mianmian was still staring at me with her big, teary eyes. I just smiled, gave a little wave, and said, Bye. Then Yan Shi led a very pitiful-looking Zhou Mianmian away. Just as Luo Yanran pushed the door open to come back in, the two of them walked right out. She froze for a moment, looking at me still standing in the milk tea shop. Seeing her walk in, I handed her the milk tea I'd just bought. 30% sugar, pure fresh milk. Drinking milk tea at night can keep you awake. Luo Yanran was quite used to seeing this gentle side of me. But my gentleness had always been reserved for that lucky girl named Zhou Mianmian. It was never for her. So right now, she was completely caught off guard. She didn't even know how to react, so she simply looked away. Acting cold, she muttered, You're so bossy. I could have bought it myself. But as soon as the words left her mouth, she regretted it. Xie Xiao would definitely get mad at that. But to her surprise, I just chuckled. Alright, then you can treat me next time. Next time, it's your treat. Hearing the words next time, Luo Yanran's heart skipped a beat, and she couldn't stop the corners of her lips from turning up into a slight smile. She reached out, taking the milk tea from my hands, and tried to sound casual. Fine, I'll treat you next time. I kind of wanted to pat her on the head, but held back, afraid she'd think I was a creep. Then, Luo Yanran remembered something. I've got something to do, I should get going. I remembered she had mentioned earlier that she had something to tell me. It was probably a confession. But didn't you just say you had something to tell me? As I asked, Luo Yanran reached up, touching her burning ears. Maybe next time, she said. I let out a soft sigh. Then let me walk you home. No need, my driver is here. I'm leaving now. Luo Yanran felt that I was being way too gentle with her today. It made her feel a little out of place and honestly, a bit flustered. So, she just waved her hand and quickly turned away. Hey, wait, I called out, trying to stop her, but she had already bolted out the door. After getting into her car, Luo Yanran stared at the warm milk tea in her hands. Feeling a bit dazed, she really had planned to confess her feelings to me today. Even though she knew I only ever had eyes for Zhou Mianmian, she still wanted to take a shot. If she didn't try now, she'd never get the chance. Her family wanted her to study abroad right after the college entrance exams. But she just couldn't bear to leave Xie Xiao behind. Luo Yanran took a quiet look out the window. But from what just happened, maybe, just maybe, she wasn't completely out of luck. At the very least, it seemed like Xie Xiao didn't only have Zhou Mianmian in his eyes anymore. Plus, he actually remembered that she liked her milk tea with 30% sugar. He really did seem different somehow. Meanwhile, I watched Luo Yanran get into her car and then headed straight home. As I walked through the door, I saw my dad sitting on the couch, reading a book. Our family was comfortably middle class, maybe a little better off. My dad was a teacher, and my mom was a doctor. She wasn't home today. She must have been working the night shift. Beside me, my dad, Xie Qing, chuckled as he glanced at me sighing right at the door. What's wrong with you? Sighing the moment you see your old man? I remembered after my accident in my past life, my naturally cheerful and gentle parents practically went completely gray in just 2 days. Their faces were lined with deep wrinkles, looking like they had suddenly aged 10 years. Those next few years must have been absolute torture for them. I felt tears welling up in my eyes, but I forced a smile anyway. Nothing, I'm not sighing. Old Xie, why aren't you asleep yet? Oh, trust me, I'd love to be asleep. He chuckled and put his book down. Standing up, he sighed. But you know what your mother said. Your mom noticed you've been having trouble sleeping these past 2 days, staying up super late. She figured you were getting sick from stress, so she specifically told me to make you some sweet soup. He said that as he walked toward the kitchen, muttering about how his wife cares way more about me than she does about him. I followed right behind him, looking at his perfectly straight back. Well duh, I am her biological son, aren't I? Honestly, the reason I couldn't sleep these past 2 days was probably because I was stressing over how to confess to Jo Myeonmian before today's get-together. In the end, I did give her the necklace I bought, but the confession still totally failed. I've been getting scholarships for years, and I spent almost all of it on Jo Myeonmian. I haven't bought my parents a single thing, not even something worth $1. And yet, my mom was still worrying about me losing sleep and getting sick. And old Xie, who usually goes to bed right on time, stayed up just waiting for me to come home and have some sweet soup. Old Xie brought out a bowl of sweet soup, leaving another portion inside for his wife to have when she gets back. When he turned around, he saw me standing right behind him with completely red eyes. Hey, you don't need to be this moved, do you? He asked with a hesitant tone. If you're out of cash and want to ask for your allowance, just ask. You don't have to cry about it. He gave me a look as he said that. I just forced a small smile. Am I that kind of person? I just suddenly realized how hard you guys work for me. Old Xie froze for a second, suddenly feeling like his son was acting a bit different today. But before he could wrap his head around it, I had already reached out, taken the sweet soup, and walked out. Old Xie followed behind me, letting out a sigh. If something's bothering you, just tell Dad. You're all grown up now, keeping things to yourself instead of telling us. I guess that's normal. I just hope that if there's ever anything you can't handle alone, you still come and talk to your family. You're still young, you know. I know, old Xie. You're such a nag. I took a sip of the sweet soup, keeping my head down. You should go to bed first. Otherwise, you'll wake up again when Mom gets back. As my words came out completely muffled, a single tear dropped right into the sweet soup. Alright then, you brat. Just leave the bowl there when you're done, I'll wash it tomorrow. Go to sleep early, don't stay up late every single night, old Xie said as he headed back to his room. When he reached the door, he couldn't help but ask, do you still have money? Don't you always help out that classmate of yours? You're not completely broke, are you? My parents were truly amazing. It's just a shame that I wasn't a good son in my past life. I have money, go to sleep. Stop nagging. Old Xie didn't say anything else. He went into his room and closed the door. After finishing the soup, I sat in the living room for a really long time. In my past life, I spent my last 3 years entirely in the hospital. Because after the car crash, my body developed a lot of serious issues. I had to be in the hospital every day, taking IV drips and meds. My parents and Luo Yanren took turns staying by my side every single day. And they stayed with me for 3 whole years. This time around, I have to treat Luo Yanren right. And I have to treat my parents right, too. I won't let them down again. As for Jo Myeonmian, I should just let it go. Thinking about this, it suddenly hit me. I didn't even seem to have Luo Yanran's contact info. I let out a soft, holy crap. I pulled out my phone and searched her name. I really didn't have it. I let out a heavy sigh. I clicked on a contact named M, with just a basketball court profile picture, and texted. Bro, do you have Luo Yanran's WeChat? The guy on the other end quickly shot back a question mark, followed by calling me a dumbass. So you're switching to a new girl? Well, at least this one is a bit better than your last. This guy with the sharp tongue is my absolute best bro, Lin Yu. Though right now, we've kind of fallen out, all because he couldn't stand me simping so hard for Jo Myeonmian. Knowing I was actually planning to confess at the gathering tonight, Lin Yu was so pissed off that he just straight up didn't go. But back then, when he found out I got into that accident because of Jo Myeonmian, Lin Yu, even though we had already fallen out, literally marched up to Jo Myeonmian when we were picking up our admission letters, and cursed her out right there at school. I heard his words were incredibly harsh. He yelled at her so bad she broke down crying on the spot. And later on, when he bumped into her on the street, acting all cozy with some other guy, he couldn't hold back and charged right over to cuss her out again. But it ended up turning into a massive brawl with the guy she was with. In the end, both of them got dragged into the police station. Who would have thought that bastard had connections? Because of that fight, Lin Yu ended up with a criminal record, ruining his chances for any government job for the rest of his life. Right now, looking at these sarcastic texts from him, A wave of bitter sadness washed over me, but finally, I couldn't help but let out a smile. At 12:01 a.m., I sent a quick voice memo. "Hey, wanna shoot some hoops tomorrow?" A little while later, he shot a voice memo right back, his tone super grumpy. "Shoot what hoops, you idiot? I haven't even finished my damn homework. School starts the day after tomorrow. We'll play when we get back and actually have some time." Right after that, he forwarded me a WeChat contact card. It was Luo Yanran's profile. "For God's sake, we used to be in the same club. How do you still not have her WeChat?" I just replied with a thank you, daddy sticker, and tapped on her profile card. But to my surprise, we were actually already friends on the app. I froze for a second. I tapped into our chat window, and realized we actually had a whole chat history. It's just that right now, reading through those messages really stung. Every single holiday, and even on my birthday, she would always send me a warm greeting right on time. And all I ever gave her in return was a polite, distant thank you. I closed my stinging eyes, suddenly losing every ounce of courage to even send her a simple hi. "Luo Yanran, just how many little secrets are you hiding that I don't know about?" I clicked into her Moments feed. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Jo Myeonmian had finally made it home. Her grandma had long since fallen asleep. Her apartment complex was ancient and the facilities were practically falling apart. Even the hallway lights were completely busted when she walked up the stairs. And of course, that guy Yan Shi was as dense as an actual rock. He just dropped her off at the ground floor and immediately left. Right at that moment, she started missing me again. For the past few years, rain or shine, I would always walk her right up to her front door. Stepping into her room, Jo Myeonmian pulled out her phone and checked the screen. Not a single message from me. Frustrated, she aggressively tossed her phone onto the bed. "Xie Xiao is being such a jerk," she muttered. Just a second ago, she was thinking that if I apologized, she might reluctantly forgive me. But now, she was absolutely dead set on ignoring me. She reached up and touched her neck, feeling the necklace I had just gifted her earlier tonight. Unable to help herself, she snatched her phone back up, opened her Moments, and posted, "The night feels so cold. I miss you, even if you might already be sick of me." Then, she sat there, eagerly waiting with bated breath for my reply. But unfortunately for her, all the way through to the very next day, she didn't get a single message from me. On the first day of school, Lin Yu showed up pretty early. Surprisingly, a bunch of people were already in the classroom. The second Lin Yu walked in, he spotted me and yelled out aloud, "You here so early today, not picking up your precious princess? You used to be more on time than the buses at the school gate." Rain or shine, picking Jo Myeonmian up from school every single day. Lin Yu was completely used to that routine. Seeing me here this early now, sitting at my desk, he felt a bit thrown off and just couldn't resist making sarcastic remarks. I glanced up at him from my textbook. "Cut the sarcasm. I brought you breakfast, so just hurry up and eat. The homeroom teacher will be here soon." Lin Yu glanced at the soy milk on his desk. And the janbing guozi. Sure enough, his face softened a bit. But his tone still had a bit of an edge. "My family runs a breakfast joint, you know. Why the hell would you bring me breakfast?" He said that, sure. But he didn't hold back at all when eating. "Don't push your luck." As it got closer to class time, the classroom slowly started filling up. Lin Yu swallowed the last bite of his janbing guozi and finally looked me straight in the eye. "What about Jo Myeonmian? Are you seriously done chasing her?" "I'm done," I replied, my tone flat. "Right now, I'm focusing on studying hard, acing the college entrance exams, and contributing to the country's future." "Then why did you ask me for Luo Yanran's number the other night?" He shot me a look. "Don't tell me you can't tell that she likes you?" I turned my head to look at Lin Yu. "I know it, tons of people know it, but you were just too blindly obsessed to notice." "Giving up a perfectly good real princess to worship a fake one," Lin Yu said with a mocking snort. To his surprise, not only was I not mad, but I actually nodded in agreement. I really was completely blind, wasn't I? As we were chatting, there was some commotion from the seats up front. Lu Shouping asked with concern, turning to Jo Myeonmian, who had just walked in with red, teary eyes. "Myeonmian, why are you so late today? Xie Xiao has been here for ages." Jo Myeonmian froze. She turned her reddened eyes toward the back row to look at me. At that exact moment, I happened to glance up at her. My eyes still held a lingering smile, though that warmth faded the second I saw her. I quickly looked away and said to Lin Yu, "Bro, do me a favor and drop it, okay?" Lin Yu let out a snort and glanced over at Jo Myeonmian. Ultimately, he didn't say anything else. Seeing that I had absolutely no intention of paying attention to her, Jo Myeonmian's tears immediately spilled over. For the past 2 days, she had been trying so hard to hold back from texting me first, deliberately posting a status update every single day. Just waiting for me to reach out to her. But all the way up until this morning. When she woke up, there was still zero news from me. She finally couldn't hold it in anymore. At 7:18 in the morning, she sent me a message, Xie Xiao. I really want to eat a janping guozi. But the moment she hit send, a notification popped up saying we weren't friends anymore. The chat was blocked. Zhou Mianmian's heart instantly sank. Xie Xiao had actually deleted her. With trembling hands, she tapped on my profile. And sure enough, it was completely blank. All the grievance and anger that had been building up inside her instantly morphed into sheer panic. Frantic and scrambling, she grabbed her things and rushed downstairs. And exactly as she feared, that familiar silhouette was nowhere to be found. Hey, Mianmian, why are you crying? Yan Shi, who had just walked into the classroom, blurted out loudly the second he saw her tears. What happened? His voice was booming. All the classmates who were studying or chatting turned their eyes toward us. Except for me, I just kept my head down and jotted the answer I'd just figured out onto my workbook. Xie Xiao, how could you do this to me? Zhou Mianmian completely ignored the tissue Yan Shi offered her. She didn't care about the stares from everyone else, either. She knew exactly how to play the victim and make people feel sorry for her. Her tears fell one by one, and her voice was trembling as she spoke. Why did you delete me? My pen stopped moving. I finally looked up at her. It was just too familiar. That wronged expression, those hurt, puppy dog eyes. She made it look like I'd committed some unforgivable crime. This was exactly how she used to manipulate my feelings every single time. But right now, I just stared at her coldly. Because I wanted to clean out my friends list. I just deleted people who didn't matter anymore. Those words completely drained the color from Zhou Mianmian's face. I don't matter? I just quietly stared at her, not saying a single word. I could hear the other classmates whispering around us. They couldn't help but shoot us gossipy looks. But before they could enjoy the drama, our homeroom teacher pushed the door open and walked in. Zhou Mianmian lowered her head, the tears just kept streaming down her face. Lu Shouping quietly slipped her a few tissues, probably thinking it was pretty humiliating for her to get called out by me like that. Though she was definitely curious about what had actually happened between us. Zhou Mianmian took the tissues and whispered a soft, thank you. She wiped her eyes and finally went to put her backpack in her desk. Out of habit, she reached inside, but her hand brushed against something warm. Zhou Mianmian's eyes lit up. She pulled it out to take a look. It was actually a warm breakfast. Her eyes practically sparkled. She just knew Xie Xiao couldn't possibly ignore her. He was just throwing a little tantrum earlier, right? Was it because of Yan Shi? Xie Xiao's temper was just way too much sometimes. Zhou Mianmian couldn't help but complain to herself, though deep down, she was actually starting to panic. Xie Xiao's attitude over the past few days had totally thrown her off. Sure, lots of guys liked her, but not a single one of them could even compare to Xie Xiao. Zhou Mianmian couldn't help but touch her necklace. She just had to wait for class to end, then she'd be the bigger person and give Xie Xiao an out. As for him deleting her and humiliating her in front of everyone, she'd make him pay for that later. So, the second the bell rang, I had just stood up and stretched my arms. When I saw Zhou Mianmian turn around with red eyes, she slammed a box of rice rolls and the necklace right onto my desk. Her voice dripped with fake sadness. Since you said we're just strangers now, then take these back. You don't have to be nice to me anymore. Not now, not ever. After saying that, she gave this tragic, heartbroken look, glancing at me with this pathetic, lingering reluctance. Lin Yu, who was sitting right next to me, rolled her eyes so hard they almost got stuck. What is this, a cheesy soap opera? After pulling that little stunt, Zhou Mianmian turned back around, counting down the seconds in her head until Xie Xiao would start begging for her forgiveness. Right as she counted to 10, she saw a familiar hand grab that bag of breakfast and drop it right back onto her desk. The corners of her mouth had just started to curl into a smirk. When she heard me say, I didn't buy this garbage, but I will be taking the necklace back. I can flip this online and get some cash back. The expression on Zhou Mianmian's face completely froze. Meanwhile, I was actually in a pretty great mood. I'd totally thought about asking for it back before, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it out of pride. Now, I just stared at the necklace Zhou Mianmian had so kindly returned to my hand. What a shame, it is already secondhand just by being worn once. Isn't there a shop that buys used jewelry next to your place? Come with me to sell this thing after class this afternoon. It should still get us a few $100, right? Lin Yu finally realized at this time that I am really done with her. He felt a bit relieved, figuring I probably got rejected again last night. I have finally come to my senses. Yeah, there is one. This thing still looks pretty new. Why don't you just give it to your mom? You will lose a few $100 flipping it. No way. My mom doesn't want stuff that other people have touched. It's dirty, I said without even thinking. Sitting right in front of us, Zhou Mianmian felt her vision blur as her tears came falling down. What is wrong with Xie Xiao today? Right at that moment, Yan Shi came running over, saw the breakfast on her desk, and eagerly said, Hey, Mianmian, why aren't you eating? This place just opened. I waited in line all morning for this. Jo Myeon felt so wronged and angry. She had just heard me say that it was dirty. All her anger was instantly taken out on Yan Shi. She grabbed that bag of breakfast and threw it at Yan Shi without hesitation. Who wants your breakfast? Can you just stay away from me? After saying that, she pushed her chair aside and stormed out, furious and in tears. Yan Shi was so stunned by the hit that he couldn't process it. He just stood there completely lost. A guy in our class who enjoyed the drama chuckled and said, "Hey she too, our class beauty thought Xie Xiao bought that breakfast. Who knew it was you? She does not want your stuff." Then Yan Shi glared fiercely at me, his face twisted in anger. "Xie Xiao, have you no shame? Did you buy this? I never said I bought it." She misunderstood it herself. "None of my fucking business." I scoffed coldly. "Instead of blaming the one who ruined your clothes, you are blaming me? What are you, a mad dog? Biting anyone you see?" The people around us were completely stunned. They were so used to my nice and gentle side. But today, I was dropping bombs one after another, completely shattering their stereotype of me. Lin Yu gave me a thumbs up, then shot a mocking look at the dumbfounded Yan Shi. "Stop trying to pick on the easy target. The target fights back now. You'd better go and check on how your goddess is doing. Otherwise, someone else is going to simp for her and you will be left with nothing." Yan Shi felt totally humiliated, shot me one last furious glare, turned around and left. Lin Yu looked at me. "You are suddenly so ruthless. Simple trash talk, ultimate enjoyment. I finally understand why you love roasting people so much." I gave him a gentle smile. Because of what happened this morning, Jo Myeon hadn't spoken to me at all. She was actually kind of panicking right now, but she still convinced herself that I was just acting out because she rejected me, and because she accepted Yan Shi's flattery. So she ignored all the guys around her too, just putting on this super pitiful and wronged expression. At the same time, she could not help but overthink things. What if Xie Xiao really didn't care about her anymore? She felt this sudden panic of being abandoned, spacing out through the entire morning. The moment the lunch bell rang, the guys dashed out of the classroom like crazy. I grabbed Lin Yu and dashed out too, while he kept whining, "What is the rush? I really want those sweet and sour ribs from Canteen 1. They only serve them on Mondays." I grabbed him and bolted, my voice sounding pretty frantic. Behind us, Jo Myeon stared at our retreating backs, her face turning totally pale. She looked over at her deskmate and asked, "Can I eat lunch with you today?" Lu Shoping took one look at her pitiful face, sighed, and said, "Yeah, sure." "But Myeon, what exactly is going on between you and Xie Xiao?" At that question, her eyes started tearing up again. Lu Shoping quickly waved her hands. It's okay. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to." Jo Myeon wiped away her tears and said, "Let's just head over to Canteen 1, too." The group of girls ended up walking to the cafeteria together. Waiting in line, Lin Yu noticed me looking all over the place and couldn't hide his curiosity. "Are you looking for someone?" I just let out a soft ah. Honestly, I don't even like sweet and sour ribs, but I knew Luo Yanren loved them. In my past life, she talked about them so many times, always wishing she could come back to Yizhonghai just to eat them again. She must have really loved them. And sure enough, I saw Luo Yanren rushing through the door, dragging another girl behind her. But by now, the line was insanely long. They got in at the very back, who knows if there'd even be any left for them. Luo let out a heavy sigh, and glanced at Luo Yanren. Even though she kept a straight face, you could totally see the disappointment in her eyes. "I am so sorry, Yanren. It's all my fault. If my period hadn't suddenly started, we wouldn't have been delayed like this. It's not your fault. If we miss out today, we'll just get them next time." Luo Yanren gave her a reassuring look. Even though she knew the ribs would probably sell out before their turn, Luo Yanren just couldn't give up. She stayed right at the back of the line. Just two people behind them were Jo Myeon and her friends. Jo Myeon glanced forward at Luo Yanren. Even just standing there, she somehow managed to completely capture everyone's attention. Meanwhile, I ordered 3 portions of sweet and sour ribs all at once, getting 2 of them packed to go. "Just how much do you love these? Are you taking them home for dinner or something?" Lin Yu was absolutely dumbfounded. I just gave him a look. Mind your own business. But when he saw me carrying the takeout boxes and heading straight toward the back of the line, Lin Yu's face turned completely green. Is this idiot seriously bringing food to Jo Myeon? As for Luo Yanren, she hadn't even noticed Jo Myeon's group behind her until she heard a few girls squealing in excitement. "Myeon, look, it's Xie Xiao, he's walking right over. He definitely bought that food for you." Luo Yanren was incredibly sensitive to my name, so she immediately looked up. And sure enough, she saw my hands, holding 2 packed boxes of sweet and sour ribs. He was way too out of line today. I'm absolutely not talking to him. Jo Myeon's voice was a mix of grievance and smug pride. She pretended to casually glance forward at Luo Yanren. Just as she thought, Luo Yanren was staring intensely at Xie Xiao. And since I was walking straight in their direction, Zhou Mianmian finally felt a little sense of relief. She knew Xie Xiao could never actually ignore her. A small smirk crept onto Zhou Mianmian's lips. She reached up and touched her hair. She didn't really know why, but her heart was beating a little faster now. Even so, she decided she would forgive me. The truth is, I hadn't even noticed Zhou Mianmian and her friends at first. You are such a jerk, man. I heard Lin Yu grumbling and cursing, completely unable to stop himself from glaring at me. How long are you gonna keep whining? Give it a rest, already. I rolled my eyes, just about to ask what he was complaining about this time. But I was already right in front of Luo Yanren. I figured I'd give her the packed sweet and sour ribs first. And mess around with Lin Yu later. But I never expected that the moment I stood in front of her. Before I could even say a word, I'd hear Zhou Mianmian's voice. The bag in my hand was grabbed by a slender, pale hand. Thank you for getting me these sweet and sour ribs. I snatched the bag right back out of her grip, and then looked at a completely stunned Zhou Mianmian. Who do you think you are? I didn't get these for you. As soon as I said that, the people around us stared at me in absolute shock. I ignored all their prying eyes and just looked at the hint of disappointment that Luo Yanren hadn't managed to hide yet. Here, senior, I got these for you guys. My tone was completely different from the impatience I showed Zhou Mianmian. It was actually pretty gentle. The crowd secretly watching the drama unfold was totally stunned. This was a huge deal. A showdown between the two school beauties was getting spicy. Luo Yanren finally snapped out of it when Luo gave her waist a sneaky, hard pinch. She looked down at the 2 portions of ribs in my hand and asked, for me? Yeah, I got 2 extra. I saw you in this line earlier, senior. So I figured you must like this too. I looked right at her. My voice was super soft. Zhou Mianmian was just completely ignored. Her face went pale with embarrassment. All those staring eyes made her feel so humiliated. It felt like she could hear countless people laughing at her. Finally, she shot a furious glare at me and Luo Yanren. Then turned around with red eyes and ran crying out of the cafeteria. Lu Shouping let out a gasp, and quickly chased after her. Just then, a girl quietly called out to me. Hey, Mianmian ran away crying. My eyes were totally indifferent. I glanced at the girl and said, oh, and what does that have to do with me? Luo let out a small gasp. It really seemed like her best friend's secret crush might actually have a chance now. She smiled and reached out, taking the ribs from my hand for Luo Yanren. Thanks a lot, freshman. We almost thought we wouldn't get to eat these today. Luo Yanren also looked up at me. She had seen exactly how I treated Zhou Mianmian just now, including that nasty glare Zhou Mianmian shot her. Luo Yanren couldn't deny it. Deep down, she was actually pretty happy about it. But she didn't let it show on her face. Instead, she just slightly lifted her chin and said with a touch of stubborn pride, I'll transfer the money to you later. Luo rolled her eyes from behind. Her bestie's classic tsundere habit was acting up again. No wonder everyone called her the untouchable ice queen. Hearing that, I just laughed. Sure thing, we're gonna go grab a table and eat now. You girls should go get your food too, seniors. As I spoke, I grabbed Lin Yu, who was still busy soaking up the drama with the rest of the crowd. Xie Xiao, what the hell is going on with you? Lin Yu just couldn't hold it in after we sat down. You don't seem like yourself today. Lin Yu had known me since elementary school, so it's safe to say he knows me incredibly well. He originally thought that even if I stopped simping, the most I'd do is just ignore Zhou Mianmian. But judging by today, my attitude was downright savage. It just wasn't something I would normally do. I met his confused, worried eyes and smiled. I just finally see things clearly. Instead of stressing over what other people think, it's way better to just live happily for myself. Lin Yu froze. Finally, he didn't say much else and just nodded his head. I love to hear that. You used to try way too hard before. You might seem popular, but actually, everyone's just using you. I sighed. Lin Yu, do you know why you don't have any other friends? Your tongue is way too sharp. Lin Yu, however, was completely unbothered. Why would I need so many friends? Having just one who truly gets me is hard enough. Looking at Lin Yu in front of me, I thought about the things from my past life. A smile touched my eyes, and I nodded in agreement. You're absolutely right. I had originally planned to grab a good seat, hoping I could even have lunch with Luo Yanren, but it turned out she got takeout and left. As she was leaving, she even glanced over at us. I gave her a bright, big smile. Luo Yanren quickly looked away, and her footsteps as she left seemed a bit hurried. Sitting across from me, Lin Yu watched my goofy smile, finding it hard to look at. What is going on with you and Luo Yanren? I thought you were just trying to piss off Zhou Mianmian. I shot him a look. Is it not obvious enough? Lin Yu put on a tell me more expression, gesturing for me to just spit it out. But I just smiled and shook my head. I can't tell you, I guess you could say. I suddenly found a hidden treasure, and now I want to keep it all to myself. Lin Yu looked at me like I was speaking alien, but I just smiled calmly. Then, my phone buzzed. The profile picture I had stared at countless times, but never dared to message first, suddenly popped up on my screen. Right below it was a digital red envelope. I didn't open it. Instead, I replied, "Senior, I don't want the money. For this, and the boba tea from last time, why don't you just treat me to a meal instead?" After hitting send, I waited patiently for her to reply. But before I could get an answer from Luo Yanren, a text message came through. It was from Zhou Mianmian. "Thanks. I'll be waiting for you at our usual spot. I won't leave until you get here." I stared at the message, frowning slightly. Crap, I actually forgot to block her number. My fingers didn't hesitate, blocked with one tap. Then, a deeply satisfied smile spread across my face. Lin Yu watched me, looking overjoyed 1 second and completely deadpan the next. "You're creeping me out, bro. Do you need to go get blessed at a temple or something? Seriously, for the past few years, I've felt like something's wrong with you. It's like you've been hexed." He let out a sigh. "Honestly, what did you even see in Zhou Mianmian? She's not that pretty, her grades are average. She's just so helpless and useless at everything she does. All she knows is how to play the victim. I seriously can't see a single good thing about her." I glanced at him, taking a moment to genuinely think back on why I was so obsessed with Zhou Mianmian in the beginning. We were classmates in our freshman year of high school. Her family was really poor, so all her tuition and fees were waived. I didn't pay much attention to her back then, just thought the girl seemed to have a decent personality. She never turned anyone down when they asked for help. Until that one day, by the back gate where stray cats always hung around, I spotted her fragile silhouette. The way she held a can of cat food, so gently feeding the strays, that image just engraved itself into my heart. Even now, I can still clearly picture that day. But at this moment, I just laughed and said, "I guess I was just totally blinded by love. I cared for her, I gave her my all. And there is nothing to regret. It's just that later, when I finally saw the truth in the end, I was still filled with regret and anger, so in this lifetime, I have no intention of making the same mistakes again." I was a bit disappointed, though, because lunch break ended and I still hadn't gotten a reply from Luo Yanren. It seemed like our lunch plans were ruined. Instead, Lu Shouping from the desk in front of me turned around and asked, "Xie Xiao, where did Mianmian go?" I gave her a completely baffled look. "How should I know? Aren't you her desk mate? How could you not know? You're asking me?" Lu Shouping was stunned for a second. "Mianmian is waiting for you at the side gate garden. Didn't you get her message? You already know where she is. So why bother asking me?" I just gave her a speechless glance, then lowered my head and went back to doing my practice tests. Beside me, Lin Yu let out a cold laugh. "Lu Shouping, do you know what your role would be in a soap opera? Zhou Mianmian acts like the main character, and you're just the little servant girl following her around, doing whatever she tells you." Lu Shouping glared at Lin Yu. "Oh, shut up. You just love running your mouth. You're the servant girl." She huffed angrily and turned back around in her seat. She didn't bring up Zhou Mianmian again after that. Meanwhile, Zhou Mianmian was actually waiting by the side gate garden. She waited out the entire lunch break, never expecting that I just wasn't going to show up at all. Seeing that it was almost time for class, she started getting anxious and shot a message to Lu Shouping on WeChat. She had specifically begged Lu Shouping earlier to drop a subtle hint to me. So why was I still nowhere to be seen? But right after she sent that message, Lu Shouping replied, "How the hell should I know? Could you guys please sort out your own drama? It's not like you can't talk to him yourself." You could practically feel her anger radiating through the screen. Zhou Mianmian was completely stunned. Did something happen in the classroom while she was gone? In the end, not daring to actually skip class, she slinked back to the classroom. When she got there, she realized I had been in the classroom this whole time. But even as she sat down next to me, I kept my head down, working on my problems, without sparing her a single glance. Zhou Mianmian felt like she was about to cry again. Honestly, even up to this point, she still hadn't figured out what my deal was. She spent the entire day just waiting for the evening classes to end. At our school, seniors have to attend evening self-study, but there's a 2-hour break beforehand. Zhou Mianmian had barely eaten anything all day. At lunch, she had only swiped her card to buy a piece of bread. Plus, she realized she only had a little over 90 yuan left on her meal card. As soon as the dismissal bell rang, Zhou Mianmian turned to me and said, "Let's go grab dinner together." Her voice was soft and timid, completely stripped of its usual sense of entitlement. Lin Yu stood up and called out to me, "Hey, are we still going to return that necklace?" "Yeah, let's go." But just as I stood up, someone grabbed my hand. Zhou Mianmian's eyes were red and teary, and she spoke in a tiny voice. "Xie Xiao, you gave that necklace to me as a gift. Do you really not want me to have it anymore?" I finally looked her dead in the eye, then glanced down at where she was holding my hand. I gently pulled my hand free. You said it yourself, it was a gift from me. But you threw it back at me this morning. So whatever I do with it now is my own business. But I regret it now. She whispered. Xie Xiao, I still want it. Zhou Mian pleaded softly. It was a pity, though. I just shook my head. Too bad. I don't want to give it to you anymore. Then I turned to Lin Yu and said, let's go. Zhou Mian sat frozen in her chair, watching me. Actually walk away without looking back even once. She lowered her head, feeling terribly wronged. What exactly had she done wrong? Meanwhile, Yan Shi had been waiting in the back of the room for ages. Seeing that I was gone, he walked over and crouched down right in front of her. Handing her a tissue. Mian, please don't be sad. Xie Xiao has probably moved on. I even saw him chatting up Luo Yanren in the cafeteria earlier. He's not worth your tears. Xie Xiao would never do that. Zhou Mian violently slapped his hand away and stood up. Tilting her chin up, she looked at Yan Shi with total disdain. Stay away from me from now on. Then she just turned on her heel and walked away. Lin Yu and I had already hit the road, planning to sell the necklace first. And grab dinner afterward, but just as we reached the school gates, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Luo Yanren. What are we eating, right now? I stopped in my tracks. And told Lin Yu, I'm not going anymore. What's wrong? Getting cold feet? Lin Yu stopped and asked me. Reselling this thing is a total rip-off, though. But to his surprise, I just whipped out the necklace. And shoved it into his hands. Can you go sell this for me? Dinner's on me tonight, whatever you want. I've gotta run. I'll treat you properly later. After that, I turned around and sprinted right back to campus. Lin Yu called out my name, but I dashed off without even looking back. Waving at him as I went. Damn it, you didn't even tell me how much you want for it. Lin Yu just stared blankly at the necklace in his hand. But I had no time to worry about that right now. I never planned on getting that necklace back anyway. Whatever I get is just a lucky bonus. Every little bit counts. Now that I've finally shaken off Zhou Mian, that total leech. My life is looking pretty sweet. By the time I ran to the bottom of the academic building, I shot Luo Yanren a text. Hey, I'm right downstairs. Where are you? Not far away, a girl's voice called out, hey. Over here. I followed the sound of her voice, and there she was, Luo Yanren. She was with that older girl we had lunch with earlier. I grinned and jogged over to them. So sorry about that. I just saw your text. Luo Yanren watched the boy running toward her, backlit by the sun, wearing a warm, gentle smile. It was a sight she had never dared to imagine before. Usually, she only ever saw my back as I ran toward another girl. Of course, she wasn't the one who actually sent that text. She wouldn't have even known how to reply. Earlier, right after class, Luo couldn't take it anymore. Seeing how totally distracted Yanren was, she snatched the phone right out of her hands and sent it. Luo Yanren was still tugging at Luo in an absolute panic. But before she could even process it, Luo had already called me over. I think there's a real spark between you two. Our cute underclassman is pretty eager, too. The moment those words left Luo's mouth, Yanren couldn't help but stress over what to say so she wouldn't make things awkward. But Luo didn't even give her a chance to think. She just laughed and said, you two go grab dinner. Just bring me back some cold noodles from the side gate, thanks. I looked at her, totally caught off guard. Aren't you coming with us? Luo just waved me off. No, I'll pass. I've got tons of homework to catch up on, and it's due tonight. You guys go on ahead. I'm heading back. As she said that, she gave Luo Yanren, who was standing there completely frozen, a little shove forward. She whispered a quick, good luck, in her ear and then marched up the stairs without looking back. I glanced over at Luo Yanren, who still hadn't said a word. Shall we go? Luo Yanren tilted her gorgeous face up to look at me, but there was a hint of annoyance in her voice when she spoke. Do you call just anyone, senior? That caught me completely off guard. In my head, I was screaming, I want to call you wifey. But, could I actually say that out loud? Instead, I gave her a soft smile. I'll call you Ranran. Since everyone else calls you Luoluo, I wanted something a little different. The girl in front of me instantly turned red and let out a soft HMPH. She quickly looked away and sped up her pace, tossing back a flustered, whatever. It's just a nickname, after all. I couldn't help but smirk. I caught up to her in a couple of strides. Right, just a nickname. So, what are we eating? Meanwhile, thanks to my little Ranran comment, Luo Yanran could still feel her cheeks burning as she walked briskly. Her voice carried a defensive edge. Whatever, weren't you the one making me buy you lunch? Just pick a place. I'm only here to foot the bill anyway. But the moment the words left her mouth, she regretted it. She darted a quick glance at me, terrified I might look annoyed. Her voice instantly dropped to a timid whisper. I'm just worried Luo might starve if we take too long getting takeout, plus we have class soon. Her voice trailed off into nothing. She figured if she were Xie Xiao, she would have stormed off by now. Why couldn't she just fix her bad temper? But to her surprise, I wasn't mad at all. Instead, I just said earnestly, then let's go grab some noodles at the food street by the back gate. I think a new noodle joint just opened up over there. No idea if it's any good, though. Hearing my completely calm, unfazed tone, Luo Yanran froze for a second, then couldn't help but stare at me in awe. She always knew I was a gentle guy, but this was the first time she'd felt it so intensely. Seeing her space out, I hummed in confusion. What's wrong? Not a fan of noodles? We can go somewhere else. She snapped out of it and looked away in a panic. No, I love them. Let's just do noodles. The little noodle shop was still in its soft opening phase, so there were only 2 or 3 other tables occupied when we walked in. I ended up ordering the exact same thing as her. Then, I turned to the waiter and added, "No cilantro for both bowls, please." Luo Yanran looked at me, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Wait, how did you know I hate cilantro and green onions?" Oh, there's a whole lot more I know about you, I thought to myself. But obviously, I couldn't say that out loud. I just chuckled. I was standing behind you and your friend in the cafeteria once, and I overheard. Luo Yanran blinked, totally bewildered. Did I ever even mention that in the cafeteria? She couldn't remember it at all, but she figured I had no reason to lie. So, she just gave a slow nod. Honestly, I just couldn't keep my eyes off her face. After she died in our past life, I lived in sheer agony for over a month. And even before that tragedy, I hadn't seen her for well over a month. Is there something on my face? I was staring way too intensely. It made Luo Yanran visibly flustered, and she nervously reached up to touch her cheek. I just smiled and shook my head. No, it's just that you look really beautiful, senior. That made her freeze. Now, normally, guys told her she was pretty all the time. But this was the absolute first time she had ever heard it coming from me. As soon as the words left my mouth, I cringed. Damn it, I sound like a total creep. I let out an awkward cough to save myself. I mean, you just have a very distinct look, senior. You know, different from other girls. Wow, I really should just superglue my mouth shut. Sure enough, Luo Yanran gave me a baffled look. Who looks exactly the same as someone else? It's not like we're twins. After she said that, we both fell completely silent. An intensely awkward tension hung in the air between us. I sighed to myself. Why was I being such a letdown? I usually have a comeback for absolutely everything. I glanced up at Luo Yanran. She was looking down, completely lost in her own thoughts. After a moment, she finally broke the silence. Actually, if you feel awkward eating with me, you really don't have to force yourself. It's not like I really wanted to eat out anyway. In Luo Yanran's mind, she probably thought I couldn't say no to her message. And that's why I was sitting here looking so miserable. So, she just blurted it out. Being this awkward, Xie Xiao must be pretty uncomfortable right now, huh? She thought. I looked at her and immediately denied it. No, I'm not. I just suddenly ran out of things to talk about. I'm just a little nervous. Luo Yanran looked up at me. Nervous about what? You used to debate in front of huge crowds. And you weren't nervous at all. That's when it finally hit me. Luo Yanran and I had actually met in the debate club. I was only a high school freshman back then. She was a year ahead of me and the vice president of the club. Later on, because Zhou Mianmian complained that I was spending way too much time at the club, I completely dropped out of the debate team without a second thought. I remember. Luo Yanran even pulled me aside back then to privately ask why I was quitting. But I was in such a rush to go see Zhou Mianmian, I don't even remember what excuse I gave her. Hearing her bring up the debate matches now, I couldn't help but smile. Wow, you still remember that after all this time? Nope, completely forgot. Luo Yanran blurted out without even thinking. Then, realizing she was the one who just brought it up, saying she didn't remember sounded way too fake. She nervously tapped the table. I mean, I just heard some of the junior girls talking about it recently. So it jogged my memory. Ah, if only there was a video recording of it. I said. I never saved a copy back then. I let out a heavy sigh, feeling genuinely regretful. I really don't remember how I performed that day. You don't remember what you looked like back then? Luo Yanran shot me a quick glance. There is a video. The club kept a copy, but I'd have to dig for it. My face lit up with absolute surprise. Really? But I probably wouldn't be allowed in to get it, right? Seeing how much I truly wanted it, she pretended not to care. I can try to find it for you when I'm free, but only when I have the time, okay? The truth was, she already had it safely backed up right on her phone. She had rewatched it countless times. After all, that was the exact moment her crush on me began. Thinking about this, Luo Yanran couldn't resist sneaking another peek at me. She didn't expect to instantly lock eyes with my smiling gaze. Her heart absolutely skipped a beat. She desperately wanted to look away, but felt like that would just make things even more painfully awkward. So, she tried her hardest to keep a totally straight face while holding my gaze. But her ears and cheeks betrayed her, burning up uncontrollably. I couldn't help but stare at her little ears as they turned completely red. Finally, I gently looked away. You seem to blush really easily, senior. Deeply flustered, Luo Yanren reached up to touch her burning ears and cheeks. But she stubbornly shot back, anyone would blush when the weather is this hot. It's just how my body reacts. Except we were literally both wearing winter jackets right now. Luckily, I just chuckled and nodded along. Yeah, that's definitely a unique reaction, then. Luo Yanren couldn't figure out if I was doing it on purpose or not. That sounded like an obvious lie, but I said it with such a straight face. In the end, she just lowered her head and stayed quiet. Right then, our noodles arrived, which really helped break the awkward silence. We both started eating in silence, and neither of us said a word until our bowls were empty. But Luo Yanren could feel the awkwardness between us slowly melting away. It turned into a really natural vibe, almost as if we had eaten noodles together like this a million times before. It was a weird thought to have, but it also gave her a little thrill of secret joy. If things could just stay like this, that wouldn't be so bad. After we finished eating, I suddenly spoke up. I've wanted to come see you so many times before, but I just didn't have the guts. Luo Yanren looked up at me. Why me? Did you need something? Not exactly. I just wanted to ask, what exactly were you trying to tell me the other night? I looked her right in the eyes. Getting a second chance at life. I wasn't going to waste any more time. I was going to claim my treasure before anyone else could. Hearing this, she just stared at me, totally caught off guard. The truth was, whatever she couldn't bring herself to say that night, had faded away along with the little bit of courage she had left. Over the next few days, she had opened my chat a million times but never ended up sending a single message. The screen was just full of our stiff, polite conversations. In her eyes, maybe I was only sweet to her that night because I was just a nice guy in general. If it had been anyone else, I probably wouldn't have turned them away either. In the end, she just gave up. So whatever she wanted to say was long gone by now. But she never expected that I had actually remembered it this whole time. And even brought it up. Seeing me sitting right there, clearly waiting for an answer, Luo Yanren suddenly had no idea what to say. She wasn't even sure if I knew about her feelings for me. Did I know? And if I did? Luo Yanren suddenly had no idea what to say. She wasn't even sure if I knew about her feelings for me. Did I know? And if I did? Did me asking her this mean that I was actually into her too? But then, what about Jo Myeonmian? She really couldn't figure out what was going on in my head. So, naturally, she found herself completely speechless. Seeing her freeze up like that, I just let out a soft sigh. I just couldn't bring myself to push her. Besides, to the current Luo Yanren, I was probably just some guy she had a little crush on. We didn't know each other inside out like we did in our past lives. But I was confident. In my last life, even when I hit rock bottom, she never once looked down on me. So with how things were now, there was no way I couldn't win my goddess over. So, I smoothly changed the subject. Did you forget what it was? It's all good, though. Don't worry about it if you forgot. Luo Yanren gave a soft little nod, then casually asked, how come I haven't seen you hanging out with Jo Myeonmian from your class lately? Did you two get into a fight? I froze for a second. No matter how you looked at it, the way I had doted on Jo Myeonmian for the past 2 years was something everyone had seen. I used to think that if we actually ended up together, would Luo Yanren mind? To be honest, I didn't really want to either. I really did simp for Jo Myeonmian for a long time. There's no point in denying it. Even though I'm completely over her now, all the feelings and money I poured into her over the years are still very real. When Luo Yanren brought this whole thing up, I paused for a moment. We're just regular classmates. There's no need to hang out every single day. Plus, you know, boundaries. Luo Yanren caught my brief hesitation. She was dying to just ask outright, don't you like Jo Myeonmian? So why are you out here alone with me? But she was too scared to. The one who catches feelings first is always insecure when they have a secret crush. She was dying to just ask outright, don't you like Jo Myeonmian? So why are you out here alone with me? But she was too scared to. The one who catches feelings first is always insecure. So right now, all she did was give a soft oh. No matter how hurt she felt inside, she didn't let it show. Then she just scanned the code to pay and said, let's go. Time to head back. I noticed her mood take a sudden nosedive. I took a deep breath. Man, I think I really messed this up. Looks like I'll just have to treat Luo Yanren even better from now on. After all, she deserves nothing but the best. We walked one after the other toward the side gate of the school. Since we were heading out to buy those cold noodles that Luo likes. After a few steps, Luo Yanren suddenly turned to look at me. You can head back first. I gave a confused, huh? And asked, are you heading somewhere else? She pulled a can of cat food out of her backpack. She gave it a little shake. Gonna go feed the stray cats. I stared at that familiar brand on the can. It was the exact same one Jo Myeonmian was holding when I ran into her before. I hesitated for a second. Stray cats? Yeah, a friend of my mom's gave us a bunch of these. We've got a cat at home too, but there's no way he can finish all of this. Plus, he really needs to go on a diet anyway, so I just brought them out for the strays. Luo Yanren glanced at me, asking a bit shyly, Did you want to come with me? I was still trying to process everything, but I just nodded my head. Then I watched as she expertly navigated her way to the stray cat's little hideout. She dug out a bag of kibble from her backpack and poured a little bit out. Once she set the opened can down next to it, she immediately turned around to leave. I called out to stop her. Wait, you're not gonna stick around until they come out to eat? Nah, they're super skittish. She seemed to remember something and frowned. Actually, they were pretty chill at first. But back in my sophomore year, I came by one day and noticed one of the cats was gone. And for a really long time after that, they completely refused to touch anything I left for them. She frowned. Actually, they were pretty chill at first. But back in my sophomore year, I came by one day and noticed one of the cats was gone. And for a really long time after that, they completely refused to touch anything I left for them. Honestly, I think someone might have tried to lure them away before. My grip on her bag of cold noodles suddenly tightened. Staring at that familiar cat food can, it made my stomach drop. Flashes of memory suddenly started piecing themselves together in my head. The day after I supposedly saw Jo Myeonmian feeding the cats, she showed up with all these fresh scratches on her hands. Her deskmate was making a huge fuss, asking what happened to her. That was actually the very first time I showed I cared about her. I even went out and bought her some medicine. Was that can of cat food expensive? Hearing my random question, Luo Yanren shot me a weird look. I mean, it's alright. But it definitely wasn't cheap. It's imported. Hearing that, I just let out a bitter laugh. It felt like I'd just been jolted awake from a really long dream. The perfect, idealized version of Jo Myeonmian I'd built up in my head just shattered into a million pieces. That cat food wasn't cheap. There's absolutely zero chance Jo Myeonmian could have afforded it back then, especially with how much her family was struggling. After that, he never showed any sign of liking small animals, either. The scratches on his hands, and his reaction later on when he accidentally saw stray cats. The way he acted so scared, and finally, that stray cat that went missing. Right then, I genuinely felt like I was being such a sweetheart. Suddenly, someone tugged at my jacket sleeve. Luo Yanran's voice dropped to a whisper. Look. I followed the direction she was pointing. A few stray cats cautiously peeked out, followed by a couple of tiny kittens. I turned to look at the girl beside me. Her eyes were so gentle as she watched the strays. There are a few new babies too. I'll bring some goat's milk next time. I couldn't help but soften my voice too. Did you ever find that cat that went missing? Luo Yanran's expression instantly fell. No. Luo and I looked all around the neighborhood. Did you ever find that cat that went missing? Luo Yanran's expression instantly fell. No. Luo and I looked all around the neighborhood, but we couldn't find it. She paused for a moment. We even saw some bloodstains. I squeezed my eyes shut. I'm sorry. It's not your fault anyway. Luo Yanran glanced at me, finding my apology a bit baffling. She looked back at the cats. Let's go. Luo is going to be hungry soon. I took one last look at the clouder of cats, then turned around and followed right behind Luo Yanran. Do you come here every day? Pretty much. Actually, I'm not the only one feeding them. Other people do too, but I just can't help worrying about them, Luo Yanran said, suddenly glancing over at me. I mean, it's not that I'm completely worried. I just do it since I'm passing by. But I just smiled and said, then take me with you next time. Luo Yanran looked at me in surprise. Do you like cats too? There was a hint of delight in her eyes. I started liking them today. Luo Yanran went quiet for a moment, walking side by side with me. Actually, it's totally fine if you don't like them. Not everyone likes small animals. As long as they don't hurt them, it's fine. I gripped the items in my hand tightly, unable to stop myself from looking back at those cats one more time. Luo Yanran suddenly stopped at the fork in the road. The noodles tonight were pretty good. But for some reason, she just couldn't bring herself to say that final thank you. I honestly didn't mind, though. I'll walk you back. Luo Yanran looked surprised. No need, it's really just a short walk. It's not like I don't know the way. Then, she snatched the cold noodles right out of my hands and hurried off. I reached up and rubbed my nose. Did I scare her off? I probably did. Someone she barely knows suddenly acting so eager. I let out a heavy sigh. But I seriously couldn't find any other chance to show I cared. We weren't even in the same teaching building. I stood there watching her back disappear down the stairwell. I let out a heavy sigh. But I seriously couldn't find any other chance to show I cared. We weren't even in the same teaching building. I watched her figure disappear down the stairwell before finally turning around to leave. But the moment I turned, I spotted that creep, Yan Shi, standing not too far behind me. He scared the crap out of me. What the hell? Is there something wrong with you? I was completely speechless. Yan Shi just glared at me with this creepy, gloomy look in his eyes. His tone was dripping with sarcasm. Everyone says you're so polite and gentle, Xie Xiao. Those boy-crazy fangirls should really see what you look like right now. I couldn't even be bothered to deal with him. I was about to walk right past him and leave, but Yan Shi called out, "Wait a minute. Are you going after Luo Yanren? Then can you stay the hell away from Mian? I stopped in my tracks and looked at Yan Shi. I let out a sigh. Bro, if you keep being a simp, you're gonna end up with absolutely nothing. Give up the simp life and you'll have everything you could ever want. Trust me on this." As I said those words, I felt like my whole body was glowing with a holy aura. What kind of repaying evil with good, merciful and compassionate spiritual awakening was this? But Yan Shi just looked at me like I was an absolute freak. "Are you okay in the head, Xie Xiao?" I stayed silent for a second, took one last look at Yan Shi. "I'm perfectly fine, but I'm worried if you keep this up, you won't be." After that, I just ignored him, turned around cleanly, and walked straight off, leaving Yan Shi standing right there. Looking completely dumbfounded, he even forgot why he came looking for me in the first place. It took him a good while before he finally shouted in the direction I had left. "You psycho." I figured I had done my good deed for the day, so I was in a pretty good mood as I headed to the convenience store to grab some snacks. I planned to find an excuse to drop them off for Luo Yanren later. Then, from far away, I spotted Zhou Mian walking out of the store. My footsteps paused for a second, and then I just walked right past her into the store. Zhou Mian had just opened her mouth to call out to me. Seeing Zhou Mian walking out of the store, my footsteps paused for a second, and then I just walked right past her into the store. Originally, Zhou Mian had just opened her mouth to stop me, but seeing me completely ignore her and walk straight inside, her face darkened and she tightly gripped the bread in her hand. She turned around and followed me back into the store anyway. Naturally, I noticed Zhou Mian trailing behind me, but I didn't bother saying anything to her. Instead, I just started picking things out from the shelves. 3 years was more than enough time for me to know exactly what Luo Yanren liked, so shopping was a breeze. Behind me, Zhou Mian could obviously tell that the snacks I was buying weren't for her. It suddenly hit her with absolute clarity, I really didn't want her anymore. She stared at me in a daze as I grabbed a chocolate bar that she absolutely hated. Suddenly, she whispered, "You're not Xie Xiao." My hand stopped midair. I frowned and looked at her. "What did you just say?" At the same time, my heart started racing. Did Zhou Mian actually figure it out? Surely not, right? Xie Xiao would never treat me like this. "You're not him." Zhou Mian's voice was dripping with grievance. Hearing that, I actually let out a sigh of relief. Turns out she was just putting on a dramatic act again. I looked at the Zhou Mian standing in front of me, not feeling a single ripple of emotion in my heart. I just said, "Look, lady. Your grades are already bad enough. Cut back on the soap operas and romance novels, alright? The teachers told us to read more, not to read that brain-rotting trash." Just calling her lady instantly turned Zhou Mian's face completely green with anger. The tears that were about to fall were sucked right back in. "Xie Xiao, you," she gritted her teeth and glared at me. "What the hell is wrong with you? Is this just because I rejected you? Didn't we agree to talk about it after the college entrance exams? I just gave a non-committal It doesn't really have anything to do with that." I just suddenly came to my senses. The way I looked at Zhou Mian was exactly like how I'd look at a total stranger. "You were absolutely right. Studies come first." Zhou Mian's eyes lit up. It's just that I suddenly came to my senses. I looked at Zhou Mian as if she were a total stranger. "You're right. Studies come first." Zhou Mian's eyes lit up. So he was really just acting like this because she rejected him. She softened her voice and said, "You know, I was only thinking about our future." But before she could even finish her sentence, I cut her off. "Wait a second, whose future are you thinking about?" "I don't know, and honestly, it has nothing to do with me anyway. Right now, I just want to focus on studying and do well on my exams. So please, stop putting on this act for me every single day. It's pretty embarrassing. Why don't you go find Yan Shi? I bet he'd be thrilled." "What do you mean by that?" "Xie Xiao, you're just jealous, aren't you?" "Fine, I'll ignore Yan Shi from now on. Just, please don't ignore me. I've been so miserable today. I've been crying all day long." Zhou Mian reached out and grabbed my sleeve, her voice laced with desperation. "I was already ignoring him anyway. It's all your fault for making me mad that night. And not taking me home. That's why I threw a little tantrum, okay?" I took a deep breath and yanked my sleeve right out of her grip. Looking at her dead in the eye, I said, "Let me spell it out for you. From now on, we are completely done with each other." I paused right there, and let out a mocking laugh. "Actually, scratch that. We never had anything to begin with." I stared at Zhou Mian with ice-cold eyes. "To put it simply, your walking ATM is walking away. I'm officially going on strike. Do you understand?" Zhou Mian couldn't help but take a step back. Her heart was racing. This version of Xie Xiao, he was completely unrecognizable to her. For a moment, she had absolutely no idea what to say. Should she try to sweet-talk him like before? She opened her mouth. I never treated you like an ATM. Looking incredibly embarrassed, she stubbornly insisted, didn't you want to give me all those things yourself? I never forced you to do anything. Jo Myeon just didn't get it. What exactly had gotten into me? How could I say such cruel things? Didn't you want to give me those things yourself? I never forced you. Jo Myeon just didn't understand. What exactly had happened to me? How could I say such cruel things? Why would I make myself sound so awful? She stared right at me, clinging to the tiny shred of dignity she had left. She enunciated every single word, you did all of that willingly. Didn't you? I looked at the girl standing right in front of me, claiming everything I did was strictly voluntary. I suddenly burst out laughing. Yeah, I was a complete idiot back then. But now, I'm done playing the fool. So, can you just stay far away from me? As soon as we get back, I'm telling the teacher to change my seat. And stop acting like you're the victim here, spouting all this ambiguous nonsense. Jo Myeon, I don't owe you a damn thing. Then what about the past 3 years we spent together? What did all that mean? Jo Myeon stared at me in absolute disbelief. It means I was just plain unlucky, I replied. Then, ignoring the stares from everyone around us, I simply turned around and walked over to the cashier. For the entire day today, starting right from the morning, Jo Myeon had been acting out some endless, dramatic soap opera. Naturally, I didn't plan on wasting even one more minute on her. I've got way too much to do, and zero time to waste. After paying, I walked straight out of the convenience store. Jo Myeon just stood there, her mind stuck on my mocking words, just my bad luck. Nearly 3 years together, and all he had for me was bad luck. It felt like she was thrust right back into her childhood, hearing the neighbors whispering. Treating a girl like such a treasure? I heard she's cursed with a terrible destiny. So unlucky. They even said the car crash happened because they were out buying her a toy. She's just cursed, absolutely cursed. Then came the sharp sting of her grandmother's slap across her face. You little jinx. Our family is cursed for having you. Why didn't you just die instead? But right now, Jo Myeon didn't feel like crying. Ignoring the stares of everyone around her, she tightly gripped the bread in her hands and walked right out of the convenience store. Xie Xiao was the very first person who had ever treated her this well. Surprisingly, Jo Myeon didn't feel like crying anymore. She just ignored all the staring eyes around her, tightly clutching the bread in her hands. She walked out of the convenience store. Xie Xiao was the very first person to ever treat her with such kindness. She absolutely refused to let him go. Before, all she cared about was making everyone else like her. Wanting everyone's approval, and in doing so, she completely neglected him. But now she saw things clearly. Everyone else in the world combined couldn't even compare to one Xie Xiao. She was going to find a way to make him forgive her. After I walked out of the convenience store, I swung by the study hall and took a quick peek inside. I noticed she wasn't in the classroom, but Luo was there. When Luo saw me, she stepped right out into the hallway. Hey freshman, looking for someone? I'm looking for Ranran. Luo froze for a second before it clicked. Oh, by Ranran, you mean Luo? She couldn't help but smirk a little. You guys hang out once and suddenly you're on nickname terms? Anyway, she ran to the restroom. But evening study is starting in a few minutes. You sure you want to wait around? Nah, I'll pass. This is for her though, could you hand it to her for me? I'll head out now. Thanks, senior. I smiled and handed over the snacks. It was actually better this way. If I tried giving them to her face to face, I was kinda worried Luo Yanran might just reject them. But doing it like this, she'd probably end up reaching out to me herself later. And if I play my cards right, I might just score our next dinner date. I know her way too well. She absolutely hates owing anyone favors. And she never takes things from anyone else. So I just dropped the bag and bolted. Luo lifted the snacks and took a peek. Turns out, it was entirely filled with her bestie's absolute favorite treats. Still, she had a feeling that her best friend's days of crushing in secret were finally coming to an end. Because this freshman, Xie Xiao, if he didn't have feelings for Luo, she'd literally eat her own shoe. Luo Yanran rushed into the classroom right as the bell rang, and immediately spotted the bag sitting on her desk. She frowned slightly. Guys had tried secretly stuffing snacks into her desk before, but rarely did anyone leave them right out in the open like this. Plus, Luo was sitting right there. So why didn't she stop them? She walked back to her seat. Sure, guys had tried sneaking snacks into her desk before, but rarely ever this blatantly out in the open. Besides, Luo had been here the whole time, so why on earth didn't she stop them? She sat down at her desk and whispered, "What's the deal with this?" Luo just looked at her, gave a knowing smirk, and slapped a sticky note right onto the bag. "It says it's from your junior. He said these are your snacks. Go ask him." Junior? Luo Yanran looked a bit confused. Then, as if she couldn't believe it, she lowered her voice and asked almost in a whisper, "Xie Xiao?" Luo nodded, and whispered back, "Yeah." How many juniors do you have? Or do you not want them? If you don't, I'm taking them. Sure enough, before Luo's hand even touched the bag, Luo Yanren grabbed it and shoved it straight into her desk. After I got back to the classroom, I went straight to the teacher's office. Then, I roughly explained the seat change to Mr. Lin. At first, he didn't really buy what I was saying, but after I practically begged him, Mr. Lin finally agreed to let me move. So, when I went back for evening study, I was in a pretty good mood. Lin Yu shoved $890 into my hand, saying it was the cash from selling the necklace. After the whole supermarket thing, Jo Myeonmian was finally quiet and stopped acting up. At least she didn't even glance at me during the whole evening study. Not that I cared. I was actually more worried about why Luo Yanren hadn't texted me yet. I didn't get anything from her all the way until class ended. Anyway, after class, I told Lin Yu, "Don't leave yet, we're swapping seats in a bit." Of course, Lu Shouping and Jo Myeonmian, who sat right in front of us, heard everything. Jo Myeonmian gripped her pen tightly, trying hard to stop herself from looking back and from saying anything. Lu Shouping, on the other hand, didn't care as much. She turned around, looking a bit surprised, and asked, "You guys are changing seats?" "Yeah," I replied, looking at Lin Yu. "Are we swapping?" Lin Yu was speechless. "Well, yeah, who else would I swap with?" Lu Shouping didn't have that many reservations, though. She turned around in surprise and asked, "You guys are changing seats?" "Yeah," I replied, looking at Lin Yu. "Are we swapping?" Lin Yu was speechless. "Well, duh, who else would your deskmate swap with? I gotta hurry home and help my grandma with chores. Make it quick." I looked at Yan Shi, who was walking over. "Hey, wanna swap seats? Didn't you tell me to stay far away from your dream girl? Hurry up and swap. If you don't." I nodded in Jo Myeonmian's direction. Yan Shi immediately blurted out, "I'll swap." Lu Shouping glanced at Jo Myeonmian and noticed she had already packed her things and was quietly getting ready to leave. Deep down, Jo Myeonmian was really hurt, but she didn't say a single word. She just slung her backpack over her shoulder and walked out. Yan Shi immediately shouted, "Hey," and totally bailed on moving the desks. "You guys handle the desks. I got something to do." With such a perfect opportunity, he definitely wasn't going to let it slip. Lin Yu muttered a curse in disbelief. But since he was in a rush to get home, we swapped the desks in no time. After swapping the seats, I headed home with Lin Yu. It was exactly 10 o'clock when I got home. Right then, the phone in my hand buzzed twice in a row. One was a new friend request from Jo Myeonmian, and the other was a text from Luo Yanren. Without a second of hesitation, I totally ignored Jo Myeonmian's friend request and opened Luo Yanren's message. It was just a dry, stiff sentence. "Thanks for the snacks, but there's no need. I don't really eat snacks." I chuckled and texted back, "When I bought them, I just figured Ranran would probably like them. So, do you like them?" Meanwhile, sitting at home, Luo Yanren stared at the name Ranran. It was as if she could suddenly hear my voice right in her ear, and her face instantly turned completely red. Hugging her pillow and covering her burning face, she fell onto the bed and started rolling around. After a while, she picked up her phone to take a look, and her face instantly turned red again. Hugging her pillow and covering her burning face, she fell onto the bed and started rolling around. After a while, she picked up her phone to take a look, then tossed it aside again. She couldn't help but feel that Xie Xiao was being a bit too flirtatious. She was going to start overthinking things again. No, I better go take a shower first. Meanwhile, I had already finished eating and gotten back to my room. But I still hadn't gotten a reply from Luo Yanren. I took a look at the message I had sent her. I didn't say anything wrong, did I? Could it be that she doesn't like me calling her Ranran? But she said she didn't mind before. I let out a soft huff. I decided to just go take a shower first. When I came out, I saw a message from Luo Yanren saying it's fine. Then, 5 minutes later, probably because I hadn't replied, she asked, "Let me transfer the money to you." I wiped my hair with one hand and typed with the other. No. I had barely typed the word no. But before I could even finish, a video call suddenly popped up from her end. I froze for a second, then answered it without any hesitation. After connecting, all I saw was a ceiling and a chandelier, accompanied by Luo Yanran's rather helpless voice. "Pi, you knocked my phone over." Then, Luo Yanran looked at my face on the screen, and my bare, exposed shoulders. For once, she completely lost her composure. Her eyes were full of confusion, staring blankly as she wondered, why on earth was Xie Xiao's face appearing on her phone screen? And, he seemed to be shirtless. I looked at her bewildered expression, and couldn't hold back a laugh. "I saw you started a video call. And I thought something was up, so I answered it." Luo Yanran felt like she was going to explode. Her fair face instantly flushed bright red. Then, for whatever reason, instead of just hanging up the call, she reflexively slammed it face down. Her fair face instantly flushed bright red. Then, for whatever reason, instead of just hanging up the call, She reflexively slammed it face down, completely covering the screen. Even though it was just a fleeting glance, I still caught a glimpse of the rather skimpy slip nightgown she was wearing. It looked like she wasn't wearing anything at all underneath it. Holy crap, I cursed in my head, quickly stopping my imagination from running wild. Then, with a beep, the video call ended. I took a deep breath and tossed my phone straight onto the bed. I had to go into the bathroom a second time. When I came back out, my face was still a little flushed. I picked up my phone again and leaned back against the bed. Sure enough, Luo Yanran hadn't sent any more messages. A smile crept into my eyes. Without mentioning the little mishap just now, I just followed up on my previous message, no need to pay me back. I hope we can grab a meal together again next time. Don't worry about what just happened. Get some rest. Good night. And with that, I didn't wait for her reply. If I wasn't mistaken, there wouldn't be any replies tonight. Luo Yanran stared at the message I sent, and threw her phone to the side again, the blush still lingering on her face. She reached out and aggressively rubbed the sleepy silver kitty in her arms. "Hi, this is all your fault. I'm definitely not going to be able to sleep tonight. It's so embarrassing. I can't believe I hung up without saying a single word. If I'm not sleeping, you're not sleeping either. To be honest, what just happened was a total accident." She was waiting for my reply, but when I didn't text back right away, she was actually going to send me a red packet. But right at that moment, Shanbing barged into her room. He pounced on her like a wild tiger, and Luo Yanran ended up dropping her phone. She probably didn't even realize she had hit the video call button, and definitely didn't expect me to actually pick it up. The boy's face flashed in Luo Yanran's mind all over again, and she quickly covered her burning cheeks with her hands. She probably didn't even realize she had hit the video call button, and definitely didn't expect me to actually pick it up. The boy's face flashed in Luo Yanran's mind all over again, and she quickly covered her burning cheeks with her hands. Then, she buried her face deep into her blanket. I'm doomed. There is no way I'm getting any sleep tonight. Meanwhile, Jo Myeonmian had been waiting in her room for a really long time. But she still hadn't seen me accept her friend request, even though she left a note saying, "We are still classmates. Let's just be friends on here." She tried to make it sound super casual, as if she had completely moved on, but in reality, she was just being incredibly cautious. But the person who used to always care about her feelings, seemed to be completely ignoring her this time. A look of deep disappointment flashed in Jo Myeonmian's eyes. She glanced at the message Yan Shi had sent 30 minutes ago. "Myeonmian, I'll bring you breakfast tomorrow morning. What would you like to eat?" She stared at the screen for a long time before replying, "Anything is fine." "Thank you, Yan Shi." Then, she opened a message from another guy, who had asked her out to dinner for tomorrow, and sent him the exact same reply. Even without Xie Xiao, her life still had to go on. This was all she could do now, but at the same time, a small part of her felt relieved. Thank goodness she hadn't given in and accepted Xie Xiao's feelings back then. Otherwise, being dumped by him like this would have left her with absolutely nothing. Over the next few days, I suddenly felt like the school was way too big, because I somehow didn't bump into Luo Yanran even a single time. I even messaged her privately once, asking if she wanted to go feed the stray cats together, but she told me she was busy. Of course I could tell. She was clearly avoiding me. I have no idea what Jo Myeonmian has been thinking lately, but every single day, she leaves a cup of milk tea on my desk. She never says a word and never leaves a note. She just sneaks it onto my desk whenever I'm not around. On the very first day, I actually thought Lin Yu had bought it for me. So I just popped a straw in and took a sip. She just sneaks it onto my desk whenever I'm not around. On the very first day, I actually thought Lin Yu had bought it for me, so I just popped a straw in and took a sip. But after just one sip, I immediately knew it was from Jo Myeonmian. Because I don't even like milk tea, and I definitely don't drink it with 70% sugar. But what's done is done. It's not like I could give a half-drunk cup back to her. So in the end, I went to the campus store to get 20 yuan in cash, and had Lin Yu hand it over to Jo Myeonmian. I figured that would pay her back for the drink. Of course, Jo Myeonmian didn't want to accept it, but when she saw that I had thrown the milk tea into the trash after just one sip, she quietly took the money right out of Lin Yu's hand. For the next few days, I didn't even touch the drinks she kept buying. I just waited until she wasn't around, and casually dropped them back onto her desk. So today, when I saw yet another fruit tea on my desk, I was seriously getting annoyed. What the hell is Jo Myeonmian trying to do? I grabbed the cup, walked straight over to her, and slammed it down on her desk. What exactly is your problem? Don't buy me these things anymore. I don't like them, and there's really no need. Jo Myeonmian followed my slender hand, looking up, and saw my expressionless face. He forced a smile. I just wanted to do something for you, just like you used to do for me. I looked at him in silence, my tone a bit strange. So, you think all I did for you back then was just buy you milk tea? Jo Myeonmian shook his head in a panic. Of course not. You did so much for me. He lowered his head in embarrassment. But I don't have that much money. This is the only thing I can afford. If you don't like milk tea or fruit juice, I'll buy you breakfast tomorrow, okay? I took a deep breath. Joe Mian, there's no need. What I did for you before. I never expected you to pay it back. I'll buy you breakfast tomorrow, okay? I took a deep breath. Joe Mian, there's no need. What I did for you before. I never expected you to pay it back. And you don't need to do any of this either. From now on, we're just normal classmates. Stop buying things for me. You don't have much money to begin with. Why waste it? Joe Mian's eyes lit up. He looked up at me. His gaze filled with a pitiful vulnerability. You still care about me, don't you? Do I? I gave Joe Mian a speechless look. Stop doing pointless things. Leaving those words behind, I turned and walked away. As I was going out the door, I happened to run into Yan Shi coming back, still carrying a cup of milk tea in his hand. Yan Shi's expression wasn't exactly friendly. For the past few days, Joe Mian had been bringing me milk tea and juice every single day, and plenty of people had seen it. His buddies were even laughing at him behind his back, calling him the absolute lowest form of a simp. Here he was, simping for Joe Mian, while Joe Mian was busy simping for Xie Xiao. It made him look incredibly pathetic. So, seeing me right now, he couldn't help but glare at me viciously. I was honestly so over it. I just ignored him completely and walked straight out. Yan Shi got pissed just looking at my nonchalant attitude. It felt like, only after Xie Xiao stopped simping, did Joe Mian finally pay attention to him. It made him feel like he was picking up Xie Xiao's discarded trash. He glanced at the milk tea in his hand, then looked up at Joe Mian. Sure enough, there was an extra cup of fruit tea on his desk. That must be the one Xie Xiao rejected. Looking a bit gloomy, Yan Shi walked over and handed the milk tea he bought to Joe Mian. Mian, I bought you some milk tea. Joe Mian gave him a gentle smile. Thank you, Yan Shi. Here, you can have this fruit tea. As he said this, the smile on his face was still incredibly gentle. Yan Shi looked at his face. Thank you, Yan Shi. Here, you can have this fruit tea. As he said this, the smile on his face was still incredibly gentle. Yan Shi looked at his face, and his expression softened along with it. But looking at that cup of fruit tea, it still really bothered him and he couldn't help but speak up. Isn't this the one you bought for Xie Xiao? Joe Mian clearly froze for a second. Then his expression dimmed. I'm sorry, I don't get much for living expenses each month. I don't have enough money to buy another cup. She offered a pale smile as she spoke, reaching out to push the fruit tea aside. If you mind, forget it. I'll buy you one tomorrow. Consider it a thank you for buying me milk tea these past few days. As she said this, her eyes welled up with tears. Yan Shi's heart immediately ached for her. He reached out and took the fruit tea. No need, this one is perfect. It hasn't even been touched. Joe Mian seemed really happy. Her eyes lit up, but she still hesitated a little. But I offered it to Xie Xiao earlier. It's fine, he didn't drink it, right? It's mine now. After Yan Shi said this, he suddenly felt a wave of relief. Who cares if Xie Xiao didn't want it? Xie Xiao didn't even take the bait before, so he still had a chance. Joe Mian flashed him a sweet smile. Yan Shi, you're so sweet. Meanwhile, I headed straight to the retake building. It was already Saturday and they'd have Sunday off. I had to seize the chance to catch Luo Yanren. Who knows, I might even be able to ask her out for tomorrow. When I got downstairs, I pulled out my phone and texted Luo Yanren. Are you in the classroom? I'm downstairs and bought you some milk tea. I waited a bit before getting a reply. I'm not in class. Drink it yourself. Where else could she be at this hour? I looked up at the school building and suddenly realized something. I'm not in class. Drink it yourself. Where else could she be at this hour? I looked up at the school building and suddenly realized something. You're looking at the cats, aren't you? Tisk, I'm heading over. Wait for me. After that, I strode toward the side gate. Sure enough, I found Luo Yanren at the spot where we fed the cats last time. She was sitting under a large tree nearby, zoning out while staring at where the stray cats usually appeared. Hearing footsteps, Luo Yanren turned her head to look. She saw me walking over with the milk tea, and I casually sat down on the bench right next to her. Luo Yanren still felt a bit awkward inside, even though many days had passed. That day really left her completely mortified. But seeing how chill I was acting right now, her embarrassment suddenly faded. I handed her the milk tea. 30% sugar. It's still a bit chilly out, so I got it hot. Luo Yanren lowered her eyes at the cup, but still reached out and took it. Thanks, but I don't really like milk tea. After saying that, she felt a wave of frustration. But I acted like it didn't faze me at all. Then I'll get you fruit tea next time. No need. Luo Yanren glanced at me. I can buy it myself if I want one. But I want to buy it for you. I said it completely straightforwardly. So, why are you unhappy? Luo Yanren froze for a second. looking away. I'm not unhappy, really, but if your back was drawn in a comic book, there'd be a giant dark cloud hanging right over it. As I said that, I playfully reached out and waved my hand over her head. Shoo, shoo, scatter away. Luo Yanren watched my actions, and couldn't help but laugh. Xie Xiao, you're so childish. Looking at the smile on her face, I smiled too. Childish is fine. See? Didn't it make you smile? For once, Luo Yanren didn't look away. She just kept her eyes on me. Seeing the smile on her face, I couldn't help but smile too. It's fine if it's childish. Look, it got you to smile, didn't it? For once, Luo Yanren didn't look away. She just kept her eyes on me. Xie Xiao, why are you being so sweet to me? Bringing me bubble tea and snacks all the way out here, and even trying to make me laugh. All of this made it really hard for Luo Yanren not to overthink things. Or was Xie Xiao just this nice to everyone? I thought to myself, this is it. I finally have the chance to tell her how I feel. But right as I was about to speak, Luo Yanren said softly, actually, back when you were a freshman, you comforted me once too. Though, you probably don't remember it. I honestly had zero memory of that ever happening. But looking at Luo Yanren's gentle smile, it was obvious that she remembered it perfectly. I'm sorry, I don't really remember, I said, swallowing hard. My voice was filled with guilt. But Luo Yanren didn't seem surprised at all. She just nodded. I figured you wouldn't. Could you tell me about it, then? Maybe if you bring it up, it'll jog my memory. But to my surprise, she just shook her head. Nope. That's a little secret between me and the freshman version of Xie Xiao. I can't tell you. I gave her a blank look. Wait, but aren't we the same person? Luo Yanren let out a soft laugh. Of course not. The freshman Xie Xiao didn't have a crush on Zhou Mianmian yet. That Xie Xiao told me. Why should anyone care about what other people think? As long as you're alive, there will always be someone who doesn't like you. You're so brilliant, senior. You should make them so jealous that there's nothing they can do about it. After all, you're the main character. Let them throw their little tantrums. Why make yourself miserable? It's way more fun to just piss them off. The boy's tone had been playfully teasing, yet incredibly comforting. You're absolutely beautiful, senior. You're the best. But in the end, that boy's tender gaze only ever landed on one girl. Yet incredibly comforting. You're absolutely beautiful, senior. You're the best. But in the end, that boy's gentle gaze only ever landed on one girl. And sadly, that girl wasn't her. I let out a heavy sigh. Alright then, never thought I'd see the day where I'd be jealous of my own past self. Luo Yanren had been trying to poke the straw into her bubble tea. But when she heard the word jealous, her hands froze and she looked up at me. What did you just say? I said I'm jealous, because the freshman version of me gets to have a secret with you. And the way you talk about him is so sweet. I'm honestly a little envious. Luo Yanren could hear her own heart pounding in her chest. Flustered, she quickly looked away. Did Xie Xiao mean what she thought he meant? She jabbed at her drink a few times but couldn't even pierce the plastic seal. Seeing her totally panicked, I reached out and took the bubble tea from her hands. I popped the straw through the seal and handed it back to her. You seem a little flustered. Why would I be? I'm not. Luo Yanren denied it instantly without skipping a beat. My hands are just a little weak today, that's all. Anyway, weren't you asking me earlier why I looked so down? It's because I totally bombed my mock exam. Right now, Luo Yanren just wanted to desperately change this heart-racing subject. I blinked in surprise, but I remembered Luo Yanren's grades always being top-notch. I couldn't help but comfort her. Hey, it's just one mock exam. I didn't do too great on it either. Do grades really stress you out that much? But Luo Yanren just smiled. It's our senior year. Who doesn't care about their grades? Plus, my mom cares a lot. She looked at me calmly. But the most important thing is, I'm retaking the year. Mentioning this, I was actually really curious why Luo Yanren was retaking it. Her college entrance exam scores from last year weren't bad at all. And I remember she ranked at least in the top 3 of our school. She was even in the top 10 of the whole province. But here she was, retaking the year. And I remember she ranked at least in the top 3 of our school. She was even in the top 10 of the whole province. But here she was, retaking the year. Why did you choose to retake it? Thinking about this, I just couldn't help but ask. Luo Yanren didn't seem surprised by the question at all. She took a sip of her milk tea. A lot of people have asked me, but I've never told anyone. Do you want to know? Saying that, she gave me a little smile. Then you'll have to trade a secret of yours for it. After saying that, she just quietly stared at me. In the end, I was the first to look away. If you don't want to tell me, just forget it. I won't force you. Luo Yanren looked a bit surprised. How did you know I didn't want to tell you? Hearing that, I just chuckled. Intuition. Well, your intuition is pretty spot on. Luo Yanren smiled, then glanced at the watch on her wrist. Lunch break is almost over. Thanks for the milk tea. Then I looked at her and said gently, don't be sad. Seeing you look so down makes this beautiful sunny day feel totally depressing. Saying that, I added one more thing. And by people, I mean me. Luo Yanran's heart skipped a beat. She was finally sure that Xie Xiao was actually flirting with her. It wasn't just her imagination. Suddenly, Luo Yanran really wanted to ask him why he was flirting with her out of nowhere. Especially since in the past, he only ever had eyes for Zhou Mianmian. It was like every other girl was invisible to him. How could he just change so suddenly? But deep down, she was too scared to actually ask. Even if I was just teasing her on a whim, this secret crush she had for years, which seemed completely hopeless, was suddenly brought out into the light. Even though she felt nervous and afraid, she just couldn't bear to close the box again. Luo Yanran always thought she was a very rational person, but when it came to me, all that rationality went right out the window. After that, Luo Yanran always thought she was a very rational person, but when it came to me, all that rationality went right out the window. After that, we walked along the campus path, one in front of the other, without saying a word. By the time we reached her building, I finally remembered the main reason I came looking for her. Ranran, do you want to go to the bookstore together tomorrow? Hearing me call her, Ranran, the girl walking ahead of me, suddenly looked a little flustered. She reached up and touched her ear, before turning around. The bookstore? Yeah, didn't you say you messed up on the mock exams? Me neither, so I'm planning to buy some practice workbooks. Want to come? I said, looking at her seriously. Even though Luo Yanran felt like our relationship hadn't quite reached the going to the bookstore together stage, she honestly couldn't find it in her heart to say no. I noticed her hesitation, and added with a smile, didn't you say you wanted to pay me back? Let's forget about the money. Just buy me lunch after the bookstore tomorrow. Luo Yanran couldn't find a single reason to refuse me, so she just softly hummed in agreement. Okay, what time and where? Just send it to me on WeChat later. I'm heading up first. I said, sure, go on up, and hey, don't let it get you down. Luo Yanran didn't say anything back, she just gave me a look. Then she turned and went upstairs. After that, I slipped back into the classroom right before the bell rang. After evening study hall, Lin Yu was in a rush to get back, so he took off without waiting for me. I packed up my stuff, still wondering where else we could go tomorrow, aside from the bookstore and getting food. As I was thinking, I looked up and saw Yan Qi following closely behind Zhou Mianmian, fawning all over her. He probably wanted to walk her home, but Zhou Mianmian gave him a polite smile and turned him down. When she looked up, her eyes accidentally met mine, and Zhou Mianmian couldn't help but grip her backpack straps tightly. As if she was afraid I'd get the wrong idea, she stepped back to put a little distance between herself and Yan Qi. She said softly, no, it's really no trouble. Zhou Mianmian couldn't help but grip her backpack straps tightly. As if she was afraid I'd get the wrong idea, she stepped back to put a little distance between herself and Yan Qi. She whispered, no, it's really no trouble. I can just walk home by myself. See you next week. Then, she glanced over at me again, only to find that I had already walked away. Zhou Mianmian looked a bit disappointed, then managed a weak smile for Yan Qi. She hurried out of the classroom with quick steps. It looked like Xie Xiao was heading home alone tonight. He was just looking at her, too. After all these days, had Xie Xiao finally stopped being angry? Maybe he was even waiting for her just now. Maybe he just left because he saw Yan Qi standing there. She couldn't help but feel annoyed. It was all Yan Qi's fault from the very beginning. Zhou Mianmian looked at the boys back in the distance, and her eyes suddenly lit up. Xie Xiao. When I heard that familiar voice behind me, I immediately walked faster. But then I heard running footsteps behind me. Zhou Mianmian's voice was getting closer and closer to Xie Xiao. Wait for me, let's walk home together. Her voice sounded bright and cheerful, but I didn't slow down at all. No thanks, we're heading in totally different directions. Hearing my answer, Zhou Mianmian froze for a second. So, Xie Xiao wasn't waiting for her earlier? Then let me walk you back, and I'll go home after that. Zhou Mianmian said softly. I stopped dead in my tracks. I let out a heavy sigh. Zhou Mianmian, what exactly are you trying to do? Zhou Mianmian gripped her backpack straps tightly. That backpack was something I gave her, too. The watch on her wrist, too. Even the very phone she was using right now. Only now did Zhou Mianmian realize that her entire life was completely filled with traces of me. I just want to be good to you, just like you used to be to me. If I do that, will you stop being mad at me? I turned around and looked at Zhou Mianmian. I met those innocent, clueless eyes of hers. Zhou Mianmian, do you really not get it? Or are you just faking it? If I do that, will you stop being mad at me? I turned around and looked at Zhou Mianmian again, meeting those innocent, clueless eyes. Zhou Mianmian, do you really not get it, or are you just faking it? I just finally woke up. I realized how pathetic I was before and that I honestly brought it on myself. The way I looked at Zhou Mianmian had completely lost all of its usual tenderness. You're a girl, so I really didn't want to say anything too harsh to you. So from now on, just live your own life. Don't go out of your way to do things for me anymore. I shook my head, feeling a bitter mix of helplessness and self-mockery. It's not like there was much genuine feeling there anyway. With that, I turned around and walked away. Xie Xiao, how do you know I didn't genuinely care about you? This is so unfair. Maybe I did neglect you before, and made a lot of mistakes, but I can change. Zhou Mianmian cried out in frustration, her voice echoing quite loudly. Not far away, Luo and Luo Yanren heard her and stopped in their tracks at the same time. They watched as I walked out without missing a single beat, almost reaching the school gates. Luo was a bit speechless. They usually didn't walk this way anyway. She just wanted to take a stroll tonight, so she invited Luo to come along. What a mess. I wouldn't have come this way if I knew. She glanced at the silent Luo Yanren. But Xie Xiao doesn't seem to care at all, haha, she let out a dry laugh. Guess they really had a huge falling out. Luo Yanren stayed silent, only glancing in the direction I had just left, though I was already completely out of sight by then. When she turned back to look at Zhou Mianmian, she noticed another guy had already popped up right beside her. Are they really done for good? But Zhou Mianmian looked so heartbroken just a second ago. How is she already walking out with another guy? Luo Yanren couldn't wrap her head around it. Luo also followed her gaze to Zhou Mianmian. But Zhou Mianmian looked so heartbroken just a second ago. How is she already with another guy? Walking outside together? Luo Yanren couldn't wrap her head around it. Luo also followed her gaze to Zhou Mianmian. No wonder I heard people calling Xie Xiao a total simp before. This Zhou Mianmian seems to just string along every single guy who chases her. Really? Weren't they dating before? Luo Yanren was a bit confused. They always seemed so close to me. Oh, please, tons of people thought so too. But Xie Xiao denied it, and Zhou Mianmian denied it too. But with the way they were, everyone thought it was only a matter of time before they made it official. Still, Zhou Mianmian's behavior is just super sketchy. Luo knew her bestie didn't follow the gossip, so she explained it dead seriously. Looking at Xie Xiao now, he probably finally saw her true colors. Good for him, honestly, or else I'd feel so bad for the guy. Luo Yanren nodded. Then he must have been really hurt before. I rushed home all excited, only to find out my dear mom was working overtime today. And old Xie was already knocked out asleep, completely forgetting to leave any food for me. So after dragging myself to my room, I opened a food delivery app and scrolled around. I couldn't find anything I was craving, so I just ended up posting on my moments first. I'm so hungry in the middle of the night I could eat a whole cow, but there is no cow at home. The first one to drop a like was, as always, Lin Yu, who commented, I haven't closed up the stall yet, come on over. But since I was too lazy to go out, I just bluntly replied with a solid number. Just as I was intensely swiping through takeout options, a message popped up. What do you want to eat? It was actually from Luo Yanren. I instantly perked up. I eagerly tapped into the chat, thought for a second, and first sent a pitiful little sticker, followed by the text, I couldn't find anything I want to eat. Then she actually started a voice call with me on WeChat. I was pretty thrilled. Little sticker, followed by the text, I couldn't find anything I want to eat. Then she actually started a voice call with me on WeChat. I was pretty thrilled, and answered it in a heartbeat. I'm outside right now, not too far from your place. There is a snack street over here. What do you want to eat? Hearing this, I actually frowned. You're still out this late? Yeah, Lu said. She wanted to grab a bite before heading back. Just the two of you girls? Where are you guys? I stood up, glancing at the time. It was already 10:30. It was so late. Two girls out all by themselves. I really couldn't help but worry. We're at the West Market Food Street. I can pack some food for you later, Luo Yanren repeated herself. No need. I was actually just about to head out for a midnight snack myself. Wait for me. Luo Yanren froze for a second. Didn't he just turn down Lin Yu on his Moments feed? Why was he suddenly coming out now? Meanwhile, I had already grabbed my stuff, put on my shoes, and headed out the door. It's only 2 bus stops away. I'll be there in about 10 minutes. I'm on my way. Luo Yanren just let out a soft "oh," not knowing what else to say. Finally, she muttered, well, then just come over and get something yourself. I'm hanging up now. Wait, don't hang up. I hurriedly stopped her. Tell me what's good to eat over there. I haven't tried anything yet. I was practically running to the bus stop. Luo Yanren glanced down the endless stretch of food stalls. Frowning slightly, her voice tinged with hesitation. But, there's just so much food here. You'd better come and see for yourself. Right after she said it, she wondered if that sounded a bit too cold. She hesitantly added, there really is a lot. On my end, I replied with a smile. I know, honestly, I just didn't want you to hang up. This is the very first time you've ever called me. My voice kept breaking up. As it reached Luo Yanren's ears, it must have been the bad reception. But Luo Yanren still heard it clearly. My voice kept breaking up. As it reached Luo Yanren's ears, it must have been the bad reception. But Luo Yanran still heard it clearly. She felt her ears instantly burning up. Seeing Lu walking back towards her, she panicked and stammered, "The sig. Null is bad here, I'm hanging up." And with that, she quickly ended the call. Call duration, 6 minutes and 18 seconds. Wow, did those few words really take over 6 minutes? When Luo walked over, she saw that Luo Yanran's face was completely flushed. "Whoa, why is your face so red?" "I'm just too hot, but it's freezing out here." Luo Yanran quickly locked her phone screen and looked up at her. "Ah, I just feel a bit warm." Luo stared at her. Sensing something was definitely off. She glanced at the phone in Yanran's hand. "Who were you just talking to? You totally look like a girl with a crush right now. Was it that cute underclassman?" After saying that, she winked playfully at Luo Yanran. Luo Yanran was terrible at lying, so she just completely changed the subject. "What else do you want to eat?" "I already bought something. This place has the absolute best stinky tofu, you have to try it." Luo Yanran remembered that I was on my way over, and couldn't help but take a step back. No thanks. She wasn't sure if Xie Xiao could handle the smell. What if he couldn't? About 7 or 8 minutes later, I was standing right in front of Lin Yu's family snack stall. The sign above read colorful sticky rice balls. Meanwhile, Luo Yanran and Luo were sitting at a small table right behind it. Lin Yu stared at me, completely speechless. "Didn't you say you weren't coming out?" An old lady beside him immediately reached over to smack him. "Is that any way to speak to little Xiao?" Then she looked at me with a very kind smile. "Is little Xiao hungry? Grandma will make you a rice ball to eat. Go take a seat in the back." I smiled and said, "Thanks, Grandma. Do you need any help?" The old lady waved her hand. "No need. Is little Xiao hungry? Grandma will make you a rice ball to eat. Go take a seat in the back." I smiled and said, "Thanks, Grandma. Do you need any help?" The old lady waved her hand. "No need. You wouldn't know how anyway, just sit." I didn't plan to get in the way either, so I obediently walked to the back. And then, I shamelessly took a seat at Luo Yanran's table. Luo smiled and greeted me. "Hey there, underclassman. What a coincidence." Luo Yanran glanced at me and gave a little nod, as her way of saying hi. I smiled and replied, "Not a coincidence at all. I only came over because I knew you girls were here." I was so upfront about it that Luo was left speechless for a moment, her eyes darting back and forth between the two of us. "So, the reason Luo was blushing while texting just now, was because of you?" I was not blushing. "It's just really hot out here." Luo Yanran shot it down immediately, but her flustered tone made it really hard to believe. I looked at her with a smile and teased, "Oh? You were blushing? I didn't even say anything much, did I?" Luo was getting fired up now. Our Luo is just the type to turn red the second you tease her. Even though she always acts so cool and expressionless, and looks super aloof, deep down she's actually a total adorable softie. Super cute, right? Luo Yanran reached out to cover her mouth. Now, these street-side tables and chairs were already pretty small to begin with. So when she stood up in such a panic, the whole table wobbled. I quickly grabbed the table with one hand, and reached my other arm behind her back to catch her in case she fell. "Careful there." Luo Yanran suddenly felt like she was being a bit childish, and eventually sat back down with a bright red face, avoiding eye contact with me entirely. Luckily, I didn't push the topic any further. Soon enough, Lin Yu walked over carrying 3 rice balls, along with 3 bottles of drinks. Luo let out a gasp. "Whoa, we didn't order ones this massive, did we? They're on the house from my grandma. She said it's because you're Xie Xiao's friends. No extra charge." Luo beamed, pleasantly surprised. "Ah, well thank you so much." Luo let out a gasp. "Whoa, we didn't order ones this massive, did we? They're on the house from my grandma. She said it's because you're Xie Xiao's friends, no extra charge." Luo beamed, pleasantly surprised, and said, "Ah, well thank you so much." I took a glance over at the bustling little food stall. Lin Yu smiled and gave a little nod. "Take your time and enjoy the food. Let me know if you need anything else. I gotta get back to work." I looked back, only to find the 2 girls staring intently in their direction. Lin Yu is a classmate of mine. It's just him and his grandma left in his family, I explained. The girls pulled their gaze back. Luo Yanran spoke up. "You two always seem to eat lunch together, don't you?" "Oh, have you been paying that much attention to me?" I shot back with a teasing smile. Sitting right next to us, Luo took a couple bites of her sticky rice and drawled, "Geez. I'm starting to feel like a third wheel over here. Maybe I should just get out of your hair?" Luo Yanran's voice went up in a panic. Luo finally just smiled playfully and kept her mouth shut. Sticky rice is the kind of thing that fills you up super fast. Let alone the fact that theirs were absolutely massive. By the end of it, the 2 girls probably wouldn't even be able to finish them. But after taking one look at the old lady, they still forced down the rest of their food. I watched them finish every last bite, feeling a little surprised. Actually, we could have fed the leftovers to the stray dogs. but Grandma made this specially for us. It would be disrespectful to do that, Luo Yanran said seriously. I looked at her and gently nodded. Thank you guys. Luo had already eaten earlier. Yet she still forced down all that sticky rice. Now, feeling uncomfortably stuffed, she stood up. I can't take it anymore, I'm heading back first. My house is just up ahead, only a 5-minute walk. She looked at me and said with a smile, Hey, Junior. Make sure you walk Luo home. Luo Yanran chimed in, No need. I can head back on my own. But I only came out because I wanted to walk you home.